The products featured in today's review were provided courtesy of MyArcade. Retro accessory and systems maker MyArcade has been producing retro-inspired multi-game systems for a number of years now, but the newer, fully licensed replicas and products are what have drawn my attention to the company most. With a number of mini arcade units dubbed MicroPlayers already available, there is sure to be something that will attract your attention if you are into retro games. MyArcade has released a slew of new products over the last few weeks, including a new Bobble handheld and Rolling Thunder mini arcade replica. My question is whether or not these units are worth a player's time and money. MyArcade was kind enough to send out one of each for us to test just that. We're going to be doing things a little bit different today by looking at two of MyArcade's products. First up, we have the arcade-style MicroPlayer of Rolling Thunder. This guy comes in a nice sized box that is covered in the official art of the game. The box is largely transparent plastic, so you can see the MicroPlayer through it and see even more cool artwork on the unit itself. On the front, we can see a holographic MyArcade officially licensed playable badge. On the right side is a cool game synopsis that I think is a nice touch. On the back are a list of features of the MicroPlayer. Next up, we have a Game Boy Advance-like PocketPlayer featuring Bobble. A picture of Bub sits on the front with an image of the PocketPlayer behind him that bears a similar color scheme. The Bobble logo is also on display, while another badge just below that shows the PocketPlayer comes with 2 additional titles built in. Lifting the front flap gives us our first glance at the PocketPlayer and a brief description of all 3 included games. The sides of the box feature the Bobble logo and a nice depiction of Bub and Bob. The back once again shows off the PocketPlayer and some of its features. Both products contain their respective players and a user guide to show basic operation. There is also a pamphlet showcasing MyArcade's other products. I really like the way both of these units look, especially the MicroPlayer. It looks like a perfect miniature arcade replica with great artwork on the sides, marquee, and controls. There is even a coin insert and return panel that functions as the unit's power switch. The controls on the front also look authentic to an arcade cabinet, except for being shrunk down to console size. In total, there are 4 buttons and a D-pad. A small arcade stick has been mounted to the D-pad to give it more of that arcade feel. The stick is removable if you'd prefer a traditional D-pad. On the back of the MicroPlayer is a battery compartment for 4 AA's and a micro USB port to power the device. A single mono speaker can also be found just above. At the very top of the unit are some volume controls and a headphone jack. The bottom of the MicroPlayer features 2 rubber grips to keep the device from moving during use. The PocketPlayer, as mentioned, looks very reminiscent to a GBA. The front features a screen, D-pad, 2 face buttons, and a start and reset button. There is also a single mono speaker here, as well as the Bobble logo and a picture of Bub with some bubbles. The Bub-inspired color scheme also looks really nice. On top of the device, we have a power switch and volume buttons, along with a micro USB port to power the device without batteries. The bottom features a headphone jack and a wrist strap. On the back are 2 battery slots that hold 2 AAA batteries each. These slots also provide some ergonomic grip for when you are playing. A few stickers featuring the controls of Bobble Part 2 and Rainbow Island can also be found here, along with an indented MyArcade logo. Both units are very lightweight but feel quite sturdy. I was honestly a little surprised by how solid they feel. Unfortunately, things for the MyArcade MicroPlayer and PocketPlayer start to fall apart once you look past the cool exterior aesthetics. Both units feature a low quality screen that have low viewing angles, making it hard to get a clean look at the action. This is an annoyance to be sure, but it isn't the worst offender of these screens. No, the worst annoyance is the screen tearing. As the screen scrolls, you are met with numerous lines of tearing. The tearing is way more apparent in Rolling Thunder thanks to its side-scrolling nature than the same screen action of Bobble. Now, I don't typically notice or care about some minor tearing, so let that be a measure for how bad it was on these small screens. Now let's move on to the games themselves. Everything in the Bobble collection appears to be running perfectly. Speed feels right, and there are no audio hitches, which are typical signs of crummy emulation. Bobble Part 2 even has a functional 2-player mode, so you can pass the PocketPlayer between 2 people for their respective turns. The Rolling Thunder MicroPlayer, on the other hand, left me confused. The unit is designed to look like and boast numerous times about being an arcade replica, but it uses the NES version of the game. Now, I can understand having an insert coin function must suck, but all this work for an authentic mini arcade experience just falls short with an NES game inside. The good news is that the game does at least run perfectly from what I could tell. Moving on to the controls, we have another mixed bag. I found the PocketPlayer to be enjoyable to play on with responsive buttons and an okay D-pad. The circular disc isn't my favorite design, but it got the job done with enough accuracy to let me beat Bobble. Though I am not a fan of the reset button being where select usually resides on a typical controller, as I have accidentally pressed it more than once. Things on the MicroPlayer are a little more hit and miss. I loved the miniature arcade stick D-pad. It felt good to use and I was able to move around as I wanted. The rest of the buttons though felt way stiffer than I would like. Each press felt like it took twice as long as it should, and while this was just a textile thing, the feel of your controls is an important aspect to the gameplay. It is also a stark contrast to how good the PocketPlayer felt to play on. Both the PocketPlayer and MicroPlayer could use some refinements to become a go-to solution for retro gamers. The screens in particular need to be seriously considered for an upgrade. While Bobble was able to mostly get away with this low quality screen, anything with scrolling and action is going to have a harder time. Improved viewing angles are also never a bad thing, and a better screen would also help get the colors of the game represented better. The next area of improvement is the MicroPlayer's controls. I am not sure why the buttons between the PocketPlayer and MicroPlayer are so different, but the MicroPlayer can definitely benefit from the PocketPlayer's buttons. A real D-pad on the PocketPlayer would also be a plus, making it almost perfect. Well, aside from the screen, of course. I was really hoping for the best when it came to MyArcade's Pocket and MicroPlayers. Both devices look fantastic and mostly feel great to play. I especially love the form factor and response found on the PocketPlayer. It is so close to perfect for me. Sadly, both are held back by sub-quality screens that result in poor viewing angles and washed out colors. There is also that crazy amount of screen tearing. Due to the lacking screen quality, I can't recommend either the Rolling Thunder MicroPlayer or Bobble PocketPlayer for anyone actually looking to use the devices to play the games. Both devices, however, look great on a shelf, and the quality found on the exteriors showcase very well. Thank you all so much for making it to the end of today's review. I can't thank you all enough for all the time that you guys have watched my videos. It has been astronomical, and you all rock. We're continuing to push on towards 5,000 subs, so if there's any of these videos that you have found particularly enjoyable, if you wouldn't mind sharing those for me, get them out to your friends, I would be eternally grateful. It makes a world of difference. Thank you. But as always, make sure to hit that like, dislike button, just depending how much you like this review, and if you haven't already, make sure you smash that sub button. Why did I use that phrasing? That phrasing sucks. Just click the sub button. If you're already subbed, you don't need to click it again. If you'd like to further support the channel, you can always click on that join button here on YouTube, get access to some awesome emotes to use during live streams, or you can check out my Patreon by clicking the link in the bottom right of the screen. For as little as $1 a month, we could get you set up on some awesome bonuses, including a private Discord channel. As always, thank you so much for your consideration. But until next time, stay awesome, stay freaking cool, have wonderful days, and we will see you all back next video.